What's going on, guys? Welcome to Golden Setups. I'm your host, Golden Focus, here with another How I Traded SPX. Today was a banger of a day. Did 226%. Very happy about that. I did another three-figure percentage trade as well, and we're gonna jump right into that. We're gonna start off with some of my trades, and I'm gonna go into the amazing banging free signal that I gave out on the Telegram channel, and then after that we're going to jump into the next day's setup. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into my trades. And so did a few trades today. I want to say about three trades. My first trade here was with SPX. We had a nice big run up here, caught a lot of people in their calls. I just watched this morning, just caught a lot of people in their calls. Then after that, a nice little double bottom to the downside and started pushing and pushing and pushing. There's another channel, another private channel that I've been in for those who are who took the VIP SAW session, which is pretty much a private group of people that I go and I teach them part of the system that keeps me profitable. And in there, I was telling them like, hey guys, just be careful, be careful up here. A lot of people are going to be caught up in calls, and the market, market makers, they see that, and they're trying to figure out what to do. We kind of paused in this area for a little bit. Then we dropped down, and once we dropped down below the 9 and below the 20, and then I saw us rejecting the 20 to the downside. I did get in somewhere around up here, and we continued to move down. My first thought was to get out at this trend line. I drew a trend line from pre-market, this candle right over here, the 710 candle, over to this candle right here at 930. And my first thought is, you know what, I'll go ahead and get out at the trend line. And so we did break down below the trend line and below this 200-day moving average, which is this purple line. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger for you guys to see. All right, which is this purple line right here. But the thing was, when we moved up and we opened up a new candle, I noticed where we opened up, we had potential to push down below there. So we did move up a little bit. I did my trade. It didn't turn red. I was just like a little bit above break even at this point. So I just kind of held back and just watched the trade, let the trade play out. And it actually did play out really well. And we rejected the trend line to the downside. We crossed over the 200-day. We moved and we crossed down below one of my strong levels here, 418.34. And then after that, we moved all the way down to 417.35. I sold into strength on the way down. I was really happy about that. I talk about that a lot. That's one of the things I'm continually working on, selling into strength on the way to my target. And these levels are targets for me, entries and exits. And so that was really good. That trade right there this morning was roughly around 182%. And here's the trade, right? Just to show you guys a little bit of the pudding here. All right, you can see this was at 10:09. Right up here, you can see 182%. All right, so was really happy at that. Okay, I'm gonna put that away. And this one was the one I kind of waited for. I just waited for. A lot of these trades are gonna start looking similar to you guys because, hey, it's my trade plan and it's how I stay profitable. So I tracked the trend here from this is the 1410 candle all the way to this right here, this big rejection off the 20 here at 1455 or 255. And we started dropping. We went back up to the same place where we rejected before. We tried to take a gap. I was telling people that there was a gap up here that we tried to take on. I believe it was with SPY, and the gap, which was actually the gap was actually a supply zone. So we hit that supply zone, came all the way back down, and then we started moving down with a lot of violence, really. And a lot of momentum rather. And we had a new candle, so I noticed that we crossed over this trend line. Usually this trend line is my entry. I'm gonna get into the trade when we break the trend line. So we did close below the trend line, but the 20, we had a hard time closing below the 20 here, but we also had a hard time closing above the trend line. And also I was looking at, just this break and retest of the moving averages, which we ended up getting. We had a new candle open up, below the trend line over here. And you can see my arrow here. This is where my entry was. Felt really good about this one. And then we continued down. We hit the VWAP. And I'm asking myself, where am I getting out? Where am I getting out? And so I did have a level in mind, and it was actually on a different chart. Again, with those who are part of my private education course here, the VIP SAW session, we actually put together a fresh new chart for those who are trading the 5-minute SPY and I was able to get out exactly at one of those key levels, just illustrating to them how important it is to have key levels on your chart, and because they will serve as your exits and your entries. It'll let you know where you can get out. And I did end up getting out at a very strong key level. Felt really good about that. Got out right around here. You can see a trend line here because I was actually tracking this trend here on a lower time frame on the 1 minute, and we did break that, and we continued down, and I sold into strength down here. So was really happy about that one. That one was actually the 226% trade, and here is the proof right here. All right, this was roughly around what's this, 1527, so like right around somewhere around that time, 1527, and you can see 226%. All right, and here we are, 1530 right here is right around, yeah, 1530 is when I went ahead and took profit right around this time. So there it is, 226%. There's my proof there. Again, I'm going to stay away from numbers because I want you guys to see the power and the potential of what you can do on a daily basis. These numbers is through triple digit percentage trades. You know, it's not BS. You can actually do this, and I'm doing this quite often, and I'm teaching others to do the same. All right, so those are my trades. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch that. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about what we did in the Telegram, the free Telegram channel, the amazing signal that we gave this morning. All right, guys, right now we're looking at the free Golden Setups Telegram channel right now. Really highly recommend that you guys join. If you can go to goldensetups.com and click on social, and you'll see the free Telegram link. Feel free to join. Anyone can join. Here we're going to call out free signal 135. This was NVDA puts. I called this out while everything was like skyrocketing. Tesla was skyrocketing, SPY was skyrocketing, and I left some notes here. You know, I talked about the risk level, you know, from 1 to 5, 1 being not risky, 5 being extremely risky. This was a level 3, and my notes was, you know, NVIDIA was very strong, and then a lot of people took profits, and I said we could be establishing a higher low. Okay, if weak, we should continue to reject the 310.48 and move down to pick up more buyers. All right, if strong, we're going to use 310.48 as a support and possibly bounce from our entry below. And so aggressive entry if it breaks, and conservative entries if you see a close below the entry. And so here it is right here. Here's that 310.48 right here. All right, was looking for this to be able to be support if we're strong, but if we're weak, we're going to keep rejecting, and that's exactly what we ended up doing. We ended up rejecting this to the downside, and I said, you know, we could possibly like bounce off of the entry and move up, but we didn't do that at all. We actually just continue to move down. So this is what I had, you know, at 8:51. This is before the market opened. All right, and then, you know, here we are at 9:30 when the market opened. You know, here we go. Target 1 was reached, and look at what we rejected. We rejected 310.48. All right, we rejected 3.48. Target 1 was reached. All right, fantastic. We look at target 2. Right, look at this. You know, at 9:36, 5 minutes later, target 2 reached. All right, and then after that, really interesting. We began to move up from there. Right, we turned around and started moving up from there. So target 2 was reached. That was over 50% play. Congratulations to those who make money. And then after that, I said in this next day setups video, hope you guys are watching these YouTube videos, I talked about Amazon, and if weak, we're going to be dropping from trend line to trend line. And so this was the video here, and you can barely kind of see it here. I'm sorry for the size here, but you know, here, this in the video here, this was on the 17th of May. I have these trend lines drawn over here, and I talked about it for a week. We're going to drop from this trend line to the next trend line to the next trend line. I talked about that, and I said that's what I'm watching out for. And I did take that play, and this is what it ended up looking like. Here it is. We dropped down from one trend line to the second trend line. You know, and this was actually my second trade of the day, my secret Amazon play. All right, and was really happy about this one right here. Okay, and I said 2 out of 3 trend lines reached, giving you guys a lot of sauce. And I got some next day setups today for tomorrow actually, that we're gonna go ahead and just jump right into. Again, highly recommend you guys go ahead and join the free Telegram channel. Go to goldensetups.com, go up to social, says social at the top, or hit the menu button if you're on your phone, hit social, and then go ahead and hit free Telegram. Go ahead and join so you don't miss out on these pretty cool opportunities. All right, next day setups. All right, right now we're looking at ES. Again, this is going to correlate with SPY and SPX. Okay, so right now we're looking at my higher time frame chart right here, and all these are going to be higher time frame. And you can see that, you know, we came up there to hit this gap, and this gap, there was a supply zone right around here in this area here. And so we hit that supply zone twice. Let me go ahead and get that supply zone drawn out here. All right, there's a supply zone right there. All right, and here we are heading back into it. Now here's the thing, looking at the supply zone, you know, we hit it once, we dropped all the way down here. We hit it the second time, you know, we dropped down to the trend line, higher low. So it looks like we're eating these orders. I think eventually we're gonna go ahead and take this gap, possibly see us going all the way up to 42.32. I don't think it's gonna be the cleanest ride up, unless again we see some freakish, you know, push in liquidity and whatnot, and we just skyrocket like before. So if we're weak, you know, we're going to be using 42.17.25, which is right around here. If we're strong, rather, we're going to be using that as support. If we're weak, we're going to continue to reject this this zone, and we're going to come back to the trend line again, and we're going to try to do it again. So I'm going to be watching for that. You know, if we're going to be weak, I'm going to be, you know, watching some levels to see maybe if we break down below the VWAP, or break down below any of the moving averages here. But if we're strong, again, I'm going to be looking for maybe on the 15-minute, maybe on the 5-minute, I'm going to be looking for this level 42.17.50 to hold up as support. All right, so that's ES. And this looks very interesting. I think overall, you know, overall, I think this trend line is the trend line to watch right here. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on this trend line. We've had a hard time closing below it, and more importantly, we had a hard time staying below the 200-day average. So we want to keep that in mind. Nice little steady move up, but the way we're moving up looks really suspect to me. So we'll see how everything turns out. Let's go ahead and jump over to Tesla. Looking at Tesla right now, today, you know, we were in this channel right here. We're looking at the hourly chart right now. So we've been channeling. All right, Tesla's been channeling, and so we just broke out of the channel today, and just, you know, we've just been moving up ever since. That break out of the channel, I actually saw it and watched it. There was so many opportunities today. I just couldn't trade them all. And but nevertheless, we did hop out of this. You know, we closed out of the channel, then continue to move up, you know, from level to level. If we're gonna be weak, okay, if we're gonna be weak, what I'm gonna be looking for is possibly, you know what I'm gonna be looking for if we're weak, I want to see a breakdown below the VWAP. I'm going to wait for a breakdown below the VWAP. If we're going to be strong, I can see us pushing up into this hourly supply zone up here, all right, that we have from 191.98 all the way up to 193.99. I could see us moving up in here and then rejecting. I don't think we'll reject all the way down back into here, but possibly a rejection at least back to 187.71. But we're going to have to wait, watch, and see. At the very minimum, I want to see 189.60, which is my next key level. I want to see that be used as support to the upside. And I'm going to be very careful for my calls once we get up in here. All right, so that's Tesla. Let's look at NVDA. All right, NVIDIA, man, look at this. So this was a really good play. We hit this was from this morning, right? This is from this morning where we hit the entry, hit target 1, hit target 2. So let me go ahead and delete those. That's still there. All right. And let me go ahead and let's talk about the next day setups for NVIDIA. All right, so look at this. This is very interesting right here. I think NVIDIA looks fairly strong. I think NVIDIA is trying to pump up. I think it's trying to pump up. I think we can get back to 318.96. I don't know how clean it's going to be, how clean it's going to look, but let me just clean this up a little bit. I don't know how clean this is going to look, but I believe that we can get up there. I got this trend line. I'm just adjusting this trend line right here on this side here, and I'm actually going to adjust this one over here. And what I want to see is, I'd like to see if we're going to continue to be strong. I want to see us break above this trend line to the upside. We're going to have to power through this 1 hour supply zone, all right, and then move up to 318.96. That's what I want to see if we're going to be strong. If we're going to be weak, what are we going to do? We're going to come down to 310.48. All right, that's the first thing. Then we're going to break down below this trend line, and if we need to pick up more buyers to get higher, this is where I see us going. So we got a demand zone down here, we got a supply zone up here. I'm going to be watching for these two. This is where I think the setups are. You know, I could do calls up to this point. I'm going to be watching this point to see if we can power through to get up here. However, up here with NVIDIA, we do have this hourly supply zone up here with the gap, coming with the gap up there. And so I feel like that's where we're trying to go. We're trying to get up here. We're trying to fill this gap, but we got a few obstacles above us. So let's wait, watch, and see. If we're strong, we're going to be pushing up this way. If we're weak, we're going to be coming down to 310.48. That's going to be our first sign of weakness. Our second sign is breaking down below the trend line and moving down into this demand zone. All right, let's go ahead and move over to Amazon. Amazon. Today, Amazon was really great. So yesterday we broke down to this first trend line, as we talked about earlier on the free Telegram channel. Today we broke down to the second trend line. Look what we got down here. We got a nice little demand zone, right? Little demand zone. I think this was drawn on the 15-minute time frame, and yeah, we had a hard time getting low. We had a hard time dropping. Right at the bottom of this demand zone, and then after that, we went ahead and pushed up from there. We're having a hard time right now getting back below this trend line, but overall, is Amazon looking weak or strong? I gotta say, in my opinion, I think Amazon is looking pretty weak. I think that if we're gonna continue to be weak, we're obviously gonna break down below this trend line. I'm gonna be looking at a close below 114.81, and then after that, my next target is going to be this trend line down here. All right, so that's my view on Amazon. If we're gonna be strong, and if we're just gonna kind of switch up from here, I'm gonna watch us climb up the 9 and the 20 are these moving averages up here. I'm gonna watch us climb up there, but then after that, we do have this supply zone up here that we need to watch out for. So not the best case. Could we get the strength? We could, but I see we have more obstacles just looking at this level of weakness that I see right now, going from trend line to trend line, and then we got one more trend line down here, then we got 112.08, and then we have the 200-day moving average down here. This looks weak to me, but we gotta wait, watch, and see. I'm watching this trend line, and I'm watching this level here, 114.81 if we're weak, but if we're strong, we're gonna be climbing up the moving average to the upside. Let's look at Apple. Apple right now, I gotta say, it's very interesting. I gotta say right now, it's trying to repair all of this right here. This is Apple on the 15-minute. Let's switch over to the hourly just so we have a little bit of a higher view right now. So right now, this big red box, you see that we're in a daily demand zone. It's a very wide demand zone. I get it. However, it does keep me cautious, so I'm not in a supply zone where sellers are, and looking to hold on to calls for a really good play. And so right now, I gotta say that Apple is trying to gain strength, trying to push back up, but I think we're gonna have some trouble right around here, right around 174.98. Between 174.98 and what else? 175.33. I think we're gonna have some trouble up there. If I was to delete this red box here, I would actually take that and call this a supply zone right here. Right. This is what I would I'd be really careful for. This area right here. Right. A supply zone within a supply zone. Yeah. This is a higher time frame. Usually I look at Apple on the daily or higher time frames than that. So that's why this is there. But if you wanted to ignore this big wide red box and you wanted to look at something a little bit more lower on the time frame, this is what we've got to watch out for those of you guys who are bullish with Apple. Keep that in mind. And if we're going to be weak, you see this trend line over here. That's what you want to watch. That's what you want to watch as far as this trend line is concerned. I can see a break below this trend line, and if that's the case, we're going to be headed all the way back down to 172.59 at the very least. So let's see how that plays out. That's as far as Apple's concerned. Let's see, who else do we got here? Let's see. Let's check out. We did NVIDIA. Let's look at QQQ. QQQ is looking pretty similar. I'm gonna go ahead and delete that. Looking pretty similar as far as this is concerned. I gotta say right now, QQQ looks pretty strong. Looks really strong right now. Looks really strong. I can't say that it looks weak at the moment, but if we are going to be weak, let's see what we got here. Yeah, if we are going to be weak, I'm going to be looking for a breakdown below VWAP. I want to see what we're going to do around this level right here, 336.02. All right, if we're weak, I can see us coming down to this level and kind of just pausing for a bit, right? This looks to be resistance and support at the same time here. So there's a good key level right around here, 336. 335.95 or 336 even, if you want to call it even. I'd be watching that, you know. So what I'm going to do here is I would be tracking this trend. All right, track this trend right here, and I'm going to be watching for that. You know, if we do break initially, I can see us stopping here at the 20. So if you wanted to be a little bit more, wanted to get a good measurement for a little bit more of a bearish move, I'd want to see a breakdown below the 20, a breakdown below this trend line, and the move down. I don't have enough touches as far as this this trend line. This is kind of like an arbitrary trend line right here, but this is what I would look like if we are weak. But right now, you know, we're looking pretty strong, and so we got to wait, watch, and see where that's going to go. And let's check out Microsoft. All right, Microsoft, same thing, looking strong, looking really strong. You know, we're above the 9, above the 20, above the VWAP, and yeah, it looks like we're trying to push up a bit higher. Same thing, I would say, same thing with Microsoft as I did with QQQ. The second we start breaking down below the 9, breaking down below the 20, and having some closes here, especially on the hour, on the hourly, I think that's what we need to watch. I got this trend line drawn here because if we really break down below this trend line is the thing to watch if we're going to be weak with Microsoft. So I'd watch this if we're going to be weak. Otherwise, we're looking pretty strong as it stands right now with Microsoft. Let's check out Meta real quick. All right, here we are with Meta. We are really trying really hard to fill this gap. Look how huge this gap is with Meta right above us. I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know if we're going to actually be able to do it in a week or 2 or 3, but we got a huge gap above us. We got another huge gap below us. I got an alert set down here just when we decide to fill this gap. But right now, I got to say that Meta is looking fairly strong. I do see a case for us reaching back up here, roughly around 2. I can say, just to be safe, 252.86 or 80. I can see that being a target, you know, and so I'll go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and set an alert right over here once we do hit that. All right, I believe that that's a possibility, a really strong possibility. Other than that, yeah, Meta's looking pretty strong. If we're going to be weak, we're going to be coming back down to this trend line here. And if we're going to be weaker, we're going to be breaking down below this trend line right here. So let me go ahead and make that bigger just so you guys can see that. I know some of you guys are looking on your phones, but that's what I'm talking about. So if we're strong, we're going to continue to move up. If we're weak, we're going to continue. If we're strong, we're going to continue to move up. And we're going to hit this level here. If we're weak, we're going to push down below this trend line, possibly have a nice little brief pause. Good target here would be the 200-day moving average. All right, let's check out gold real quick. Gold right now, I got to say, is looking fairly oh man, we're still moving too. All right, this is gold on the hourly right now. I gotta say gold is looking fairly strong right now. I gotta say it's looking really strong. I see a case and strong. Like, I know we just had this huge dip, this big dip right now. I know we just had that big dip, but I gotta say that I see a possibility that we may come back up to 1983. All right, yeah, 1983, I would say 1983 to be safe. Yeah, 1983, I see a possibility for that if we break up above this trend line. So I'll be watching for this trend line if we are indeed strong. But if we're weak, I can see us breaking down. We got to break down below 1968.58. If we break down below 1968.58, I can see us moving all the way down to 1957.92. So that's something we want to be able to watch for and pay attention to. So if we're weak, we're going to be breaking down below 1968.73 and possibly moving down to 1957.92. If we're strong, we're going to break up above this trend line and we're going to be reaching up here to 1982.84. So I'll be watching that for those of you guys who are trading gold. Let's look at Bitcoin real quick. And we'll wrap up with this. Bitcoin right now looks like Bitcoin is in a little bit of a range here, right? Bitcoin is in a little bit of a range. They're trying to figure out what to do. I got a level here at 26,571. We seem to be bouncing off of this level. Very strong key level over here. We seem to be bouncing off of that level, and looks like we're wedging. To be quite honest here, looks like we're wedging. So we got a let's see, we got a wedge a higher. That's the upper portion of the wedge. And here we go. We got the lower portion of the wedge. I would wait to see which way we break. You know, if we break up, we're strong. If we break down below, we're going to be weak. I got to wait, watch, and see. Typically, when we move into a wedge, when we move up into a wedge, we tend to have the continuation, or when we move down into a wedge, we tend to have that continuation as well. So this is going to be a tough one to call. Being that we broke out of this channel, I would want to lean towards weakness. This looks fairly weak, in my opinion. I would think weak, and the first stop, if we're going to continue this weakness, is going to be 26,571. That's going to be the first stop. Next stop is going to be 25,285. All right, that's going to be the next stop for Bitcoin. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys taking the time. Make sure you go and hit the like, comment, and subscribe button. Do all that YouTubefication stuff, and feel free to check out goldensetups.com. And like I said, for those of you guys who want to join the free Telegram channel, just come up here to social, click on free Telegram. That will take you there. The YouTube channel where you can see all the other trades, that will take you there. And also keep in mind, we had a really good fun time on Fridays. I do live trading together. You know, there's no Discord or anything you need to join. You can just click this link. It'll bring you straight into my Zoom channel, and we're just going to be trading live together. All right, we're going to be having a good time. Other than that, feel free to check out all the other offerings here at goldensetups.com. And guys, don't forget, trade the setup, trade confident, and don't forget to live life. Take care.